ask you what your number one audience is, I want you to go where the desire already is for the product that you offer, not to go places and try to build desire. It is hard to build desire. But if you can find yourself in the room where people are already looking for your product and you offer it to them, now you are in a much better place. Remember, products sell as a result of need. I need you to go, no pun intended, where the need is, all right? Actually, let me step back and get right into what I wanted to share with you today. How I wrote my first book at 18, before social media. It was in 2004, before Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Vine, Snapchat, all this other stuff was out there. YouTube was there, but I didn't have any YouTube videos. I had not graduated from Harvard Law School, and I did not graduate from Morehouse College. I was still in college at the time. So none of those things were a driver of the success. How did I do it? Let me first show you the book. I've actually never shown this on camera in a while. 25 Tips for a Life of Success. And I do have an earring in my ear. That earring did not last long. But that was the very first edition of the book that became a second edition. This is me, Harvard's in the background when I was at law school. And then now is what it looks like today, although this is a much older picture of me. So I've done several editions, 3 editions of the same book. Now, let me give you some tips for how I did it and how you can begin to do the same with your book, because all of you are first-time authors. The first thing is you need to understand the difference between marketing and selling. Nobody likes a seller, but the people who push their products the best are marketers. They're not sellers, they're marketers. Oprah Winfrey, for instance, is able to get on her network or her show or somebody else's show and say, this book changed my life, and it flies off the shelves. She doesn't tell you to buy the book. All she does is tell you that the book did well for her or did something great in her life, and people buy it because people trust her value. So this is the first tip I'm giving you. Marketers understand that they need to build value. When you write a book, you got to ask yourself, what is the value that I can build around myself that will cause people to want to buy my book? You're not just selling a book. You're selling an idea. You are selling yourself. You're selling a story. You are selling a concept, a notion. But most of all, you're selling your value. So in order to do that, you've got to build value. Point 2 I want to bring up, play to your strengths. You play to your strengths by knowing what are my strengths. My strength I knew was speaking. So I understood that in order to sell books, I need to get in front of as many audiences as possible and speak. Because from the moment I would speak, no matter what was in the book, people wanted to buy the book. What are your strengths? What are you great at? Dice, I know that you're great on your show that you know, I watched it on Monday and you're good with that. That's one of your strengths at least. So you play to your strengths. Number 3, as we talk about playing to your strengths, understand who your audience is. An audience is not 18 to 50-year-olds or 40-year-olds, whatever, across all ages and numbers. That's not, it's too broad. I need you to get a lot more specific. I'm talking about who is your primary audience. Now, you have a primary audience, a secondary audience, a tertiary audience, but I need you to know who your primary audience is. Your primary audience is probably not going to be any more than 3 or 4 million people. I can tell you now that there are in this country alone 315 million people. When you say 18 to 40-year-old men, you're talking about tens of millions of people. That's too general. It does not mean that you cannot sell to that number, but what I am saying is have your target, play to your strengths. Who is your number one audience? I knew that my number one audience, hands down, were mothers of Black boys. That was the audience. That was my number one audience. Mothers of Black boys between the age of, my first book, between the age of 12 years old and 20 years old. That was of course, that's still millions of people perhaps, but it's a lot slimmer of an audience. So everywhere, and I'm leading to my next point, everywhere you go where the people are, everywhere where I knew Black mothers were of Black boys, I wanted to be there. I needed to be there because I understood that's my audience. If you have a plan, and I'm not putting you on Front Street, Dice, I think it's good to sell 1 million copies, and I believe you can do it. But you don't believe it, and I know you don't because, 1, you laughed after you said it. 2, you said you want to sell. I don't want to hear what you want to sell. I want to hear what you're committed to doing right now at this moment. So you can get to 1 million, but you get to 1 million by knowing your audience, your primary audience, and you zone in. See, some people make the mistake of trying to be all things to all people. They're jack of all trades, master of nothing, and I don't want you to fall into that. Now, as we talk about audience, I want you to ask yourself 2 questions. Who listens to me more, and who's buying the books for the people that listen to me? So my audience, so I'm kind of going back a little bit. My audience, I wrote the book for, right? I wrote the book for high schoolers who looked like me. I'm a black man, so I was writing it for young black men and young black boys, my first book. But I understood that they weren't buying the books. The mothers were buying the books. So some of you have said on this call that you are targeting to people in prison. Well, the people in prison 9 times out of 10 are not going to buy the book. But good news, people are buying books for them. What are the organizations that are buying the books? What are the people that are buying the books? Who's that audience? That's who you've got to get in front of. You have to know this, because it's not enough to say, this is who I wrote the book for, if we have not made a tangible connection to who's going to buy the book for them. I hope this is resonating, because I took some notes. Start with home base. So I was going to Morehouse at the time. So I went to the Morehouse College bookstore and said, can I put my book there? They said, no, there's a process that we got to do this by. But the manager kind of liked me. So he said, you know what? I like your enthusiasm. I like your energy. I like your persistence. Let's see what we can do. We'll buy 10 books. If it goes, we'll buy more. So I made sure that those 10 books flew off the shelves. Okay, start with home base. Start where you are. So I got my friends, look, buy the books. Okay, buy the 10 books. The 10 books went so quickly, he gave an order for 50. And then there was an order for 100. Then when I had my first book signed, where do you think I had it? I had it in Atlanta at Morehouse College at the college. Why? Because that's home base. Where is your home base? You got to know it, because that's where you start. I also had a website. I do think it's important to have some level of digital presence. Now, of course, there was not social media then. You have the advantage of social media now, but I do encourage, have a website. It's cheap to start. Now they've got Wix and GoDaddy, and you can do it on your own. When I first created my website, you had to actually know code. And I had to find people that could teach me code, because I did not want to spend the money for it. The website looked crazy. I think I even had the Russian national anthem playing in the background. Anybody who knows me knows that I've always been fascinated with old Russia for some weird reason. So I had the song that the old Soviets walked out to. I don't know why, but it was a bad website. But people appreciated the attempt. Now you have no excuse. You can go on Wix. You can, for $15 a month, have them maintain your website. GoDaddy will secure you a name. They have a sale, I believe, for 99 cents for your host name. So everybody should have a website for their book. I already said go where the people are. And the last thing I'll end this with is people connect with stories. You know, this goes back, we're bringing it full circle. This goes back to marketing versus selling. Sellers talk about their products. Marketers talk about their story. They talk about the things that they know make people want to buy. So what's your story? My story was, I'm a young black man at 18, I'm telling you, I'm a young black man who got a full scholarship to college. I'm working my way through, and I'm excited about life. And I want to tell you the name of the book, Daring to Be Different, how you can be different in life. And I wrote this book because nobody let me get an internship for the summer. So I decided to write my own book. People connect with that. It's a story. To this day, and I get laughs every time I say this in front of an audience, I say, that summer, and this is the exact words I use, the summer after my freshman year in college, I applied to 20 internships, and I got denied from all of them. It was so bad, I was getting rejection letters from places I hadn't even applied. People laugh at that. People connect to the story. They connect to seeing somebody that could be their son. Remember, I know my audience. I'm talking to my audience. My audience are black mothers. They can see in me their son. They can see their younger brother. They can see their younger cousin who's fighting for this dream and fighting to be something and do something. And people keep slamming the door and telling them no. But persistence wins the day. People like that. So I don't have to say, buy my book, Daring to Be Different. I tell them about the story. I tell them about the story of fighting to try to come into my own, and that you can come into your own as well. By the time I sit down, people are coming to me and say, how can I buy your book? All right. So I wanted to share those things with you. I do want to open it back up, and you can unmute yourself as I ask each of you questions. Let me see where I am with time. Okay, so we have about 8 minutes. For next week, a couple things. We'll send out together, we'll figure out what time we should meet. Even if it's this week and we start meeting weekly, let's say if we say Wednesday, then we'll start this Wednesday, because I don't want to miss a whole 7 days. So let's say if it's Wednesday at 7 p.m., we'll do that. And every Wednesday be doing it, at least until it needs to shift, because I want to be respectful of your time. But I want everybody to go back and think of what is your audience. It's got to be specific. And I need it to be written down. It's got to be, I don't want it to feel like when we're talking now, it's coming off the cuff. Now, you see, I prepared for this meeting. I came with notes. I thought about what I would say, and I thought about what I wanted to impart. From this point on, every time we meet, I need you to be in a place where you can take notes, because I'm giving instruction because I have the blueprint. Other people will just publish your stuff. They're not going to sit down and give you the blueprint. They're not going to show you. I don't want to say they're not. Let me get out of that. It's hard for people to sit down and give you the blueprint, because they're just more interested in that, whatever. If you make it, you make it. If you don't, you don't. But I am invested in your success. So I need you, several things. 5 minutes early. I need you to be in a place where you can sit down and take notes. And I need next time for you to give me who is your audience. And I'm going to tell you this. I want you to tell me in this country. Now, nobody said in this country, so I would assume we're talking this country. Maybe we're not. So, Dice, you said 15, 8. I wrote this down. You said 18 to 47-year-olds. Donald, you said 13 to 25-year-olds. And Koala, you said 16 to 45-year-olds. If we're talking worldwide, we're literally talking about billions of people. So that's how I know we're not focused yet. I need you to be able to tell me where specifically. I don't want to assume, are we talking in this country? And secondly, I want you to tell me how many people there are in the world, in that niche for that. So if you come back and tell me, for instance, I'm writing my book for 13 to 25-year-olds in this country who live in the inner city, I want you to also be able to give me a number, how many people that there are. See, we're making it real. I don't just want to come on here and talk fantasy. Oh, I'm going to sell, 1,000 copies. Because let me tell you something. 1 million is a fantasy and 1,000 is a fantasy if there's no infrastructure. Vision without infrastructure is fantasy. So we got to have an infrastructure for how we're going to build this. Come Back Swinging, my newest book, I sat down to do the demographics. How many people in this country have gone to prison? How many people in this country are currently in a church, because those are my two groups, are in some sort of faith-based group and go off, and how many? And so I begin to, from there, determine who is the plethora, the number of my audience. So I need you to give me those two things. What's your number? 3 things. I'm not even gonna hold you to the numbers you gave me now. I want you to tell me what is the number you want to reach by the end of the summer in sales. 2, I want you to tell me who is your primary audience. 3, I want you to tell me who is buying books. Maybe it's them. If you're telling me, Koala, for instance, they are men who are 16 to 45, maybe they're the ones buying their own books. That's fine, but I need to know that. And 4, I want you to tell me the number of people that are in that group. All right. So where are we with this? I want to hear some feedback.